All right, guys, welcome to Thrift Chronicles, another great episode. I'm JonnyO from We Be Thrifting with my other co-host.
Games by Omar. What's going on, everybody?
So, Omar, like we were talking about, I feel like I know the last episode we were talking about, what we did recently and stuff like that in sales. I had an amazing week last week on the last episode with that one sale. I know you were doing okay. We were talking about the holidays and stuff like that. But for me, I guess it kind of roles reverse. I bet you're probably doing a lot better than I am this week. This week, I haven't been really doing well on sales. But like you said, it's that season. Christmas and all these holidays are coming right now. So it's kind of like a hit or miss. That's a part about being a reseller. So yeah, I haven't sold anything. So I don't know. How are you looking on your
So it's crazy because I think the way I sell is helping me out a little bit because, all right, my online is dead. I ain't selling eBay. I mean, granted, I haven't put nothing on eBay in a while, but eBay dead, Mercari dead. I did have that encore auction that finished up last week, so that was good. The switch went for 130 and the
Oh,
buyers
that's good. That's good.
yeah, and the buyer's payment went through. I had an Xbox, I think, go for like 70. Of course, their payment didn't go through, but it is what it is. But most of my money has been coming through the stores. So people are physically going to stores, at least for me, and buying stuff, opposed to them going online and buying stuff. And everybody's experience may be different, but I realized that I was like, man, like I haven't gone to the post office. I only went like once, I think this week, and then usually for me that's a bad thing because that means I'm not selling anything. But I haven't been to the post office, but Geo over at Into Retroverse, shout out to Into the Retroverse. He's been sending me little payments here and there from the store, and then at the other store as well. It hasn't been as frequent, but they've been giving me a little stuff too. And then people have been coming to, pick up stuff near me, like Facebook Marketplace. So that's where all my sales this week have been coming from, in person stuff. So, you know, that's why I always say for like sellers, man, it's all about that, diversification. Because, if I was just doing the eBay or just doing whatever, I'd be hurting right now, bad. But, I think because I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, it's starting to pick up and I'm kind of hoping it stays that way. Uh, but I mean, it's the holiday. I mean, we're almost at the end of October and I feel like once November really hits, cause once everybody gets Halloween out the way, then that's really really when it begins. Them online sales, they coming, bro. They coming. Is gonna get there. I can feel it, man. People are looking for stuff to spend money on. So, as long as we have inventory, then we should be all right. That's and that goes back to just getting the inventory available, getting it ready, pictures taken. And I'm a bad example because I'll be saying I'm gonna post on eBay every week and I don't. But
Yeah, every episode.
every episode, but getting that stuff out in front of the people is big because like if they don't see it, man, they can't buy it. So it's about to pick up, bro, for sure.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Like you said with inventory, like I just stocked up on a bunch of inventory last weekend. Like I ended up buying some other stuff besides VHSs. Ended up getting on some AEW wrestling figures. They were really really cheap, so I jumped on them.
Nice.
I saw the comps on them, so I was like, let me figure and go ahead and buy these and try to flip these. And like you said, Halloween's about to be over, November's coming up, and then what is it, Christmas. So I feel for that I might be able to get them off just because of the holidays and then the Black Fridays and stuff like that. Kids might want to get these figures that they can't find. But yeah, my online has been slow. I feel like it's gonna pick up, like you're saying. I just gotta be patient, and that's kind of good. Like how me and you have our hands in different platforms rather than just keeping it in just one, because it gets overwhelming if it's just one and then you're not, like for instance like eBay, and then you're not selling and it's like slow right now. Then you're just like, dang, what are you gonna do? Because bills got to get paid, and then this is your livelihood. This is what you do, your everyday job. You're doing it full time.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, it's one of those things you gotta do more than one thing, man. I've realized that early because sometimes one thing is hitting and then it just stop hitting, man. And if you just, live by one thing and die by one thing, it's like that's a dangerous game, especially if you're doing it full time. Because like I know people, man, that just do whatnot. Like, all right, let's just use whatnot. And there's times where they're hitting on whatnot, getting the sales, everybody's in the room, but then they'll have a streak where, man, ain't nobody in the room or nobody spending money. And it's like if you only do that and you're only dependent on that, when it's slow, you're in trouble. So I try not to do too much of just one thing in general, just because, that I'm scared of that. I'm full time. Yeah. So it's hard to, you know, it's hard to make it if you're not making sales. So I feel like if I put a little bit here, I put a little bit there, put something in the stores, put some stuff online, put some buy now, put some auction. Like if I do just a lot of that, then the sale has to come from one of those spots. That's my theory. Like it's gonna come from somewhere, and then I can just adjust. And if some things are hitting, then I can lean more into that and pull back from other things, stuff like that. But yeah, man, I think the wave is coming, man. People, I know that, economy is not as great as it should be and all of that. And, that's a whole nother discussion for another day.
Yeah.
But I feel like, at least with like hobbies and these things, people are still, for now, still spending the money on their hobbies and their interests. And I think we talked about this before. I've already learned that what I sell or what I do realistically is not essential. You can't eat a video game, you can't heat your house with a video game, you can't, it's leisure and it's entertainment only. Entertainment is really valuable to some people. The money, people allocate a certain amount of money towards entertainment. So those are the people that I'm looking for as customers, because at the end of the day, no matter how tough things are, they're like, for their sanity or whatever the case may be, they need, a video game, or they need, some form of entertainment. So that's where we come in, man. You see, you sell a lot more different things. So some of the things you sell can be technically coded as like essential things. Like you sell clothes, you sell stuff like that, shoes. So that's like essential stuff that people need.
Well, yeah, like what you're saying with the like for VHSs, I always have people hit me up for VHSs for certain specific ones, and that is very nostalgic to them. That they're like, "Hey, do you have this one? I love this movie." Or if I do have it, they like, how we discussed on the previous episodes when these customers ask for a good deal, like a good price or whatnot, and then you're able to agree on it because it's something that they love and that they want, because it brings them back, childhood memories, or something maybe a favorite film or movie that they had a bond with their parents or their father, or whatever it may be. But like you said, it's not essential, but still, it means something. Like you said, entertainment, like with VHS and DVDs and all that, CDs, vinyl records, etc.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, we definitely have to really hone in on that and focus on that, because I mean, at the end of the day, with things being the way that they are, people are really being conscious of what they spending their money on. So, for me, that just goes back to, everything I sell, I want to make sure it works. I want to make sure, you know, you're not essentially wasting your money buying something, take it home, it doesn't turn on, or, this, that, and the third. Like, I really try to do quality control just for the fact that, you can be happy with your purchase once you leave, or once you get it in the mail, or whatever the case may be. Just being, satisfied with your purchase, man. But there's so much for us to do. But as resellers, we just have to just get stuff and get stuff out. And I'm a hypocrite, man. I have so many things. I have so many things that I pass by it. I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll deal with it. And it's been a lot of tomorrows, bro.
Hey, I feel you. I've been like that all this week, man. I've been like, I gotta get to that. I gotta get to that. I gotta get to that. But then when I get that message, that little alert from eBay, I'm just like, ah, that's someone
Right.
messaging me telling me like, hey, where's my product? I paid you 2 days ago, and I'm like, hey, I've been busy, bro. Life's happened. But like it's like for both of us, we can't use that as an excuse. We gotta like, hey, man, I'm like, hey, let's just get this stuff out. Let's go drop this off at this post office because we don't want to get that ding or that bad review or that, hey, I need that refund. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I've been like that this week for some reason, but it's too at the same time is I'm focusing on other stuff too. So like state as a we're resellers, but I know as in me doing the tumblers, that's not a reselling thing. You It's not pre-owned. We don't say used anymore. It's
Yeah,
not pre-owned item, so it's an item that I make as I go. But so I've been trying to focus on and doing that also to have another hustle as a entrepreneur. Because we are entrepreneurs, selling these types of stuff and getting it out there and getting a name for me for that.
absolutely, man. That just goes back, it's just multiple things that we do to because I mean, I feel like right now, especially if you put the right stuff on those tumblers, they'll move. So, you focus on that, especially heavy into the holiday season where people are buying gifts. And then,
Hmm.
now let's just say after Christmas it tapers down a little bit, then you could kind of slow down with that and then put more focus right back into the, pre-owned stuff on the eBay and this and that. And, that's a perfect example of just we have to do more than one thing. 100%. Cause things come in waves. This stuff comes in waves, man. My Macari is dead, but then sometimes I'll just get 2 or 3 orders back to back from Macari, and I'm like, man, where'd that come from? Or like one store is dead, and then I'm like, man, like I'm not making anything at the store. But then it's like the next week, it's like day after day after day after day. So it's I learned that early, man, and I really try to focus on that. Just try to do a little bit for everything at all times. And sometimes it's hard to do that, man. You lose track of stuff, maybe a package that you were supposed to send out or what, case may be, or you're supposed to get something ready for somebody and, you didn't get it ready and stuff like that, cause I mean, things happen, but it's always good to be doing more than one thing.
Well, yeah, you gotta have your hand in everything, like you said, have a different hands in everything to make money, and not just it's good to do that, and that's good that we do that, both of us, because we know this is what we want to do. We put ourselves in the situation to make it us a full time reseller. So yeah, it's the benefit and it's the nature of the beast. So sometimes you're not gonna get no sales, you're not gonna get a lot of things like that, and those are the pros and cons as a reseller. And then like you said, it hits in waves. So like how you say, like if like you brought a Macari, I just got a sale I think yesterday, and I'm like, what? I haven't sold a Macari for like 2 weeks. I think I sold like a poster, and then eBay, it's been like hit or miss too. So and then Whatnot, I sold something like that's like a hit or miss, but I already ran out. I think I stated that on the other episode about the pins, so I don't have no more. And then Offer Up, I don't really sell anything. That's your platform, and my what is it? Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. That's died down for me for a minute because I haven't had anything to really sell. I've been trying to look what to exactly sell and drop down prices, but I feel like whatever I have on there, it's not in season, so it's kind of like a hit or miss. No one's really looking. They're just skipping it, overseeing it, so it hasn't been working.
You know, once OfferUp got rid of shipping, and this was recent, I think they did it last month, September something, but once they got rid of the shipping, OfferUp just fell off. Cause as crazy as it sounds, most people view OfferUp as a local, marketplace, but I was shipping a lot of stuff on OfferUp, surprisingly. So, once that was a blow to me, but Facebook Marketplace essentially is the same thing. And, I sell on Marketplace in a couple different ways. I have my stuff here that I have people come pick up. I buy a lot of stuff on Marketplace, actually. That's, when I'm sourcing, I source a lot on Facebook Marketplace. But when I'm selling, I have people come to the house, but what I do now, and I think I talked about this in the other episode as well, I just make the listing and put it for the store because I know I'm going to put the game in the store and just have them pick it up there. So a lot of my store sales realistically were Facebook Marketplace sales. They just had to go in the store to go get it. I just say, hey, this game is located at, Into the Retroverse, 325 West Valley Boulevard, blah, blah, whatever. Open from this time to this time. Just ask for games by Omar when you get there. And then boom, people, hey, this available? Yep. There it is. All the info's in the post. They go get it. And then, I get my money. I think, there's so many different, resources, there were different platforms, different, things that you can use to really build up, them sales and get things out of there and get things sold, man. Cause, at the end of the day, I'm different. I don't mind sitting on stuff, but then obviously you don't want to sit on too many things. So, the goal is to actually generate sales. This ain't a museum, bro.
Yeah, we're not Warner Brothers and just putting stuff you don't no longer use anymore in the stores, and then it collects dust and you ain't never using it. And then you can't get rid of it. Then you got to throw it in the trash, because to them money ain't a thing.
It ain't like that. I mean, sometimes it feels like it when stuff ain't moving. You know, it's like, at the end of the day, man, our goal is to get stuff in the customer's hands, man. Because all it takes is one, brother. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
You sell to the right person one time, and you never know whether that person comes back or that person tells someone else about you, whatever it is. You never know. So, I've experienced that multiple times, so I know that that's the truth. Not even just making anything up. All it takes is one, man, and we definitely have to do what we can to really get this stuff. Because I mean, we're in the fourth quarter, and everybody should be making. It don't matter what you sell. Everybody should be making that push to really get more stuff out in front of the people than usual. Let's just say you have 50 listings that you usually make, you got to bump it up to like 75. Or usually I might go drop off like 50 games. I'm going to try to drop off 100 games at the store, something like that, so that it can kind of boost eyes on your stuff and really get people there. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm optimistic, bro. I think it's going to be a good, despite all the craziness that's going on. I feel like it's going to be a good holiday season sales wise.
No, I agree. Like, it's just slow right now, but I feel the same way. It's gonna open up for both of us where we're gonna make really, really good sales. It's gonna be a blessing. And I feel like the same thing too, as in after the holiday season. I know sometimes when January and February comes, it is kind of slow for both of us. It depends, but around that time people do get their tax money and stuff like that too. But I'm not gonna say that people are gonna use all their tax money on to buy stuff from our store. I feel like next year too, it's gonna be a good blessing because I feel like I've been doing research on certain things, as in like, opening a shop, or like kind of want to do what you do too, doing cabinets, putting certain things, but not video games, but at least getting a little section area to put VHSs, or probably my cups or clothes, or so on and so forth. And at the same time, maybe in the near future, I know we've discussed us opening a spot together, where we have your video games showcase there, your consoles, and then, me having all the clothes, VHSs, and all the other ideas that we talked to open up to where everyone could come to our location where they can get good deals, and then they leave happy, and then obviously we're happy as store owners, so I feel like next year and everything coming, it's going to work.
Absolutely. Um, I mean, we were talking about it, or before we started. There's even a new spot opening up in Santa Clarita, and I don't even remember the name off the top of my head, so I'm not gonna act like I remember it. But it's kind of like Frankenstein's, and if anybody knows Frankenstein's, it's a big old collectible market. Full. It's like a full-time vendor setup. I think on the weekends and one day during the week, and they're opening up another one of those in Santa Clarita. So I see things like that. No one's opening something like as big as that, bringing in a bunch of vendors and doing like that if the forecast isn't good. Like no one, no business owner or no, bank giving a loan or whatever the case may be is gonna really just go for something like that if they don't think that, something could come from it. So, when I see things like that, I see people opening up, there's so many stores hitting like, and I'm talking about like video games stuff, but so many stores hitting their like 1 year anniversary. Shout out to Games for Us in Rialto. I think this weekend is his 1 year anniversary. He's doing an event over there. So I know a few people that have opened stores this year. So I feel like the forecast is still good because nobody's doing that if the forecast is not good.
No, no, you're right. You're right. And the thing is too, how you brought up about frankincense and like how they're going to have this venue out in Santa Clarita. I think it's a good thing because you got to think about us growing up. Not to say, they always had thrift stores us growing up, and everyone, probably sold and all that stuff before me and you thought about it. We were young. When I was growing up, you got to think about it. Every block, I don't know if you remember, like every block, there was a video game store. There was freaking sports card shops. I know when I was growing, there was one like every freaking block. If I didn't go to this sports card shop and get basketball cards, I went to this one. Or, you know, back in the day, Kmart. Kmart used to have all the cards. You go up in the Kmart, get these boxes for like $20. You get the video games at Kmart. And then, like Circus City back in the day. I don't know if anybody knows about Circus City, but, I guess that's around mine and Omar's time. But I used to pull up at Circus City and get games all the time. Hey, tell my mom, hey, I need this game. You had all this Montgomery Wars. Hey, that's a classic. And then, of these younger generation, they don't know anything about Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, where, we used to get all these games and stuff. So, like, it's kind of good that people are starting to open up spots to get this young generation to see type of this stuff. And then there's money in it. So it helps everybody, helps the community, people to get this nostalgic stuff and get it out there. Cause I know a lot of this stuff is not made anymore, but at the same time, if you're able to present it to these people and that people that are fans of it, they want to buy it and have a good time. And then, you want to have a good conversation with these customers and then build a long, bond with these people. Cause you might go somewhere, you know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely, and it's definitely I feel like business is booming. I'm just thinking, as we're talking about this, like in the past year, like okay, perfect example, like Rare Formula, he's out in Torrance as well. He opened up a shop. Shout out to him. He's probably maybe like 6 months in, I want to say, maybe a little less. But you go in there, business is booming. It look like he's been open forever. And then, there's so many people, that are thriving right now. And, they took that risk, open up their own business. Cause the thing is, the leap from being a reseller to being, a business owner, when we're talking like retail space, that's a big leap.
Yeah.
So, your overhead is quadrupled, I mean, you have so many different other responsibilities. There's a lot that goes into that. And I think, that just shows the climate that okay, people are out here because people go in these establishments, they spend money, they help the community helps them back. It's a lot that goes into it. So I'm definitely I love to see it, because that's something that, we both aspire to do at some point. So, seeing people that I know, do that, I'm like, okay, well, if you out here doing that, that means that, the opportunity is still out there, then, I can do something similar. And it's a really beautiful thing to see, man. And it goes back to just, I know we talked about this a few episodes back, working with people, a lot of these people opening their shops, their competitors are helping them, giving them advice and, and it's it's good to have that. It's good to, there's a lot of people that I could pick their brain today and they would give me advice and shout out to like David's Game Lounge. He gives me advice. I hit him up and whenever I'm in the area, I go, chop it up with him and I ask him about, the day to day, how he runs his business and he's always, willing to just share that knowledge and, what he does, what works, what doesn't work. And a lot of people don't got to do that. You would think people like, oh, you trying to open a game store? Nah, I want you to open a game store. Let me go ahead and not tell you anything. But there's so many people that give that information, and we all grow. We're all in the same community. So, I feel like when one person prospers, that means everybody could prosper. And, that's just where it goes to. So there's a lot there's a lot that goes into it, and I feel like at the end of the day, that for us on the reselling side, it's a good sign, bro. It's a good sign.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is, and I'm looking forward to it. And I know you are too. So it's an amazing sign. God's going to open all the doors for us, and it's a blessing. And what we do now. So yeah, guys, I know we talked about our week and always go off topic and this and that. We just want to let you know what we do within the week, the ideas that we have, and how it is slow in this reselling game. So again, thank you guys for listening. This is Johnny from Thrift Chronicle. I mean, Johnny from We Be Thrifting. Sorry about that. And then my buddy.
Games by Omar. Take it easy, everybody. See you on the next one.
Peace.